I've made this mistake before. You walk into the store, spot a perfectly packaged steak and think, wow, this looks amazing. But something doesn't sit right. And you know what? That gut feeling isn't wrong. In 2025, grocery shelves are filled with meat that looks fresher than it actually is. Clean packaging, bright red coloring, but behind that glossy appearance, bacteria, shortcuts, and health risks that can turn dinner into a disaster. We all want to believe the big-name stores have our backs, that if it's neatly displayed and sold under a trusted logo, it must be safe. But the truth? Some of these stores are cutting corners where it matters most, and that puts your health and your money on the line. Today, I'm counting down 7 grocery stores where I'd think twice before buying meat. I'm talking about real risks, contamination, misleading freshness, and supply chains that just don't prioritize your safety. And let me tell you, the store at number 1 completely shattered my trust. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the truth behind your groceries. Trust me, no one else is going to tell you this stuff. Number 7. Publix. Publix is one of those places that just feels premium. The uniforms are crisp, the lighting is perfect, and everything looks clean enough to eat off the floor, including the meat counter. But that polished vibe can be misleading. Over the past few years, Publix has been hit with multiple recalls due to listeria contamination in their meat products. And this isn't just a fluke. These issues came from different stores involving different products, which tells me it's not just bad luck. It's a deeper problem. What makes it even worse is the illusion of safety. People willingly pay more at Publix because they trust the brand. They believe they're getting higher standards, cleaner food, better oversight. But when a store charges extra and still lets bacteria slip through, that's not just disappointing, that's a betrayal. I've picked up meat at Publix that looked amazing, only to open the package at home and get a whiff of something off. And I know I'm not the only one. The packaging may look fresher than the meat inside, and that's a problem you can't afford to ignore. So no, not everything at Publix is worth the premium. Their slogan says, "Where shopping is a pleasure." But behind the glass, you might be paying more just to put your health at risk. And that's not my idea of a good deal. Number 6. Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop looks great on the surface. Clean aisles, shiny floors, and a layout that makes you feel like you're in a high-end store until you hit the meat section. That's where things start to fall apart. I've personally picked up meat from Stop and Shop that looked okay in the package, only to find it slimy and brown when I got home. And I'm not the only one. Across the country, people have reported the same thing. Meat that smells off, looks discolored, or just feels wrong. These aren't one-off issues they're patterns. That tells me something's broken, whether it's poor refrigeration, sloppy rotation, or a sourcing problem that no one's talking about. And here's the kicker. Stop and Shop isn't cheap. You're paying prices that make you expect quality. But when that steak hits the pan and releases a strange smell instead of a sizzle, that's not just disappointing, that's infuriating, especially for anyone trying to stick to a budget or make meals last through the week. I expect better when I'm paying more. And if a store can't get something as basic as fresh meat right, then it's not a place I can trust with my money or my dinner plans. Number 5. Aldi. I'll be honest, I love Aldi. The store makes it easy to stretch a grocery budget without feeling like you're sacrificing too much. But when it comes to meat, I've learned to be careful. Aldi's low prices sometimes come at a cost that isn't printed on the label. One of the scariest examples, their Park Street Deli pork carnitas were pulled from shelves after reports of plastic and rubber fragments found inside. That's not a fluke. That's a serious safety risk. And it's the kind of thing that makes you wonder what other corners are being cut. Aldi runs on a bare-bones, high-efficiency model. That's how they keep prices low, but it also means fewer suppliers, fewer quality checks, and fewer trained eyes on the product. When even one thing goes wrong in that chain, thousands of shoppers are at risk. I still shop at Aldi, but meat, I think twice. Because unlike a dented can or a squished loaf of bread, a bad batch of meat can send you or your kids straight to the ER. That's not a gamble I'm willing to take just to save a few bucks on ground beef. Number 4. Target. Target isn't the first place that comes to mind when you think about buying meat, but that's part of the problem. You go in for laundry detergent or a throw pillow and come out with a pack of deli meat or pre-cooked chicken because it's right there, looking clean and convenient. But behind that convenience is a serious concern. Target has been hit with multiple nationwide recalls involving listeria in ready-to-eat meat products. That's not just gross, that's dangerous, especially for kids, older adults, or anyone with a compromised immune system. Unlike stores with full butcher departments, Target treats its food section like an afterthought. There's less training, less oversight, and a much higher chance that something sketchy slips through the cracks. And with meat, you don't get second chances. One bad package can ruin your week, or worse. Target nails a lot of things: decor, beauty, even snacks. But meat, it just isn't their lane. I've learned to steer clear of anything refrigerated unless I want to roll the dice on food safety. And when it comes to feeding my family, I'm not in the mood for games. Number 3. Walmart. Walmart is the go-to grocery stop for millions of families, including mine. It's hard to beat their prices, especially when you're trying to make ends meet. But here's what most people don't realize. Those meat deals can come with some serious hidden costs. Over the years, Walmart has been tied to multiple nationwide meat recalls. We're talking about bacterial contamination, poor refrigeration, and packaging that's barely holding together. In some stores, meat was found sitting at temperatures high enough to allow bacteria like salmonella to grow fast, and that's terrifying. The biggest problem? You don't see it. You assume everything's safe because it's Walmart. But the scale of the operation is so massive that quality control often falls through the cracks. I've bought chicken that looked okay, only to have it smell weird the moment I opened it. That's not normal, and it's not safe. So yeah, the price might look good, but if that same meat sat in a warm cooler for hours or came from a rushed supplier cutting corners, is it really a deal? When the real cost is food poisoning or a ruined week, I'd rather pay a little more for peace of mind. Number 2. Kroger. Kroger is huge, one of the biggest grocery chains in the country. With that kind of reach, you'd think their meat quality would be locked down. But I've had more than a few experiences that say otherwise. And I'm not alone. Customers have opened Kroger meat to find sour smells, strange textures, and fat content so high it turns into a puddle of grease on the stove. Worse than that, they've been tied to multiple listeria-related recalls over the years. That's not just unpleasant, it's dangerous. The thing that stings the most? The prices aren't even that cheap. In some areas, you're paying near premium rates for meat that barely delivers on freshness and may even pose a risk to your health. That's not just bad business, it's disrespectful to shoppers. I expect a fair deal. If I'm paying more, give me better quality. But Kroger's meat section often doesn't meet that bar. And when you're gambling on food safety, every purchase becomes a risk. Personally, I don't like playing with my dinner, especially when it could end in a trip to urgent care. Number 1. Trader Joe's. This one shocked me the most. Trader Joe's built its entire brand on trust. Feel-good vibes, organic ingredients, hand-drawn signs, and clever packaging that makes you feel like you're shopping smarter. But their meat section? That's where the image starts to crack. Trader Joe's has issued multiple serious meat recalls, including products labeled as organic, all-natural, and ready to eat. The common culprit? Listeria contamination. That hits especially hard when their main audience is health-conscious shoppers, young families, and older adults. The very people most vulnerable to foodborne illness. The betrayal runs deep. This isn't some budget megamart known for cutting corners. Trader Joe's is supposed to be above all that. But when the meat labeled as clean ends up being contaminated, it shatters the trust completely. And trust is what you're really paying for at a place like this. I still like some things from Trader Joe's. Snacks, sauces, frozen meals. But meat? Not anymore. I've learned the hard way that good branding doesn't always mean good food safety. And when a store known for wellness puts your health at risk, that's a red flag you just can't ignore. So now you know, even the biggest names in grocery aren't always playing it safe behind the scenes. I'm not saying avoid these stores completely, but when it comes to meat, be extra careful. A shiny package or clever label doesn't guarantee freshness or safety. Let me ask you, have you ever brought home meat that looked fine in the store but ended up spoiled or worse? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might be the heads up someone else needs. And hey, if this video helped you dodge just one risky purchase, do me a favor and tap that like button. It tells YouTube real shoppers want real answers, not brand-approved fluff. If you're tired of paying more for meat that disappoints or puts your health on the line, subscribe now. I dig up what others won't, so you can shop smarter and safer. Remember, saving money isn't just about finding deals. It's about knowing which deals you can actually trust.